the Ridecast. I'm here with Zara, and
Hello.
she's a student right here. And she's been telling me about like everything that she's been going through in regards to being a student and what her goals are. And so let's talk about it. So you're a biochemistry major, right?
I'm a biology major. I
Uh,
recently switched.
You switched from biochemistry, and you mentioned to me that you were thinking about you like startups, the idea of startups.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. What is it about the idea of the startup that you like?
Yeah, so I have a little bit of experience in working in academia and research.
Uh
So
huh.
I used to work as a research intern at Southwestern, and I kind of got the feel for how like academia conducts research in comparison to industry research, which I actually have a couple of friends in high school who are currently doing research in industry. And like for example, a lot of them are biomedical engineering majors, bioengineering majors, etc. in
Okay.
different cities like San Diego and Boston. And so when I was like talking to them about how their like industry research experiences have been going, they gave me a lot of insight into the biotech like sphere, how industry research differs in comparison to academia. And I found that I really enjoyed how the field operates just because they have a lot of freedom, like creative freedom in terms of what they're able to research, and also they tend to avoid the bureaucracy that goes on in academia.
Uh huh.
So because of that, I really enjoy like the idea of working in a startup and perhaps like contributing to their drug discovery like methods. I actually currently work at a drug discovery startup as well. I currently work at a drug discovery lab at Southwestern
And
at
you
SMU.
and you like doing that though?
Yeah, I find it really engaging. It's actually a chemistry lab, and they use different medicinal chemistry methods to conduct like drug discovery.
Okay.
However, they've also like started incorporating a lot of computational chemistry, and like for example,
Computational chemistry,
yeah, like molecular docking
molecular docking.
for drug discovery, and I found that to be really interesting. And I have a couple of friends in internships who also use those methods in their like internships. So that was something that brought me really, and I wanted to apply in my career.
How does that work though?
Yeah. So like for example, you'll take a molecule, and in my lab we work with carbapenem antibiotics, which
You
are
work with, I'm sorry.
carbapenem antibiotics.
Okay.
So carbapenem antibiotics are a type of antibiotic within the broader field, or within the like broader subtype of antibiotics called beta-lactam
Okay.
antibiotics. And these ones specifically are really potent against the escape bacteria. And it's an acronym, ESKAPE. And those bacteria are known as like, I think the eight most lethal bacteria that the World Health Organization deems the most imperative to find antibiotics to.
Okay.
So like my lab will like specifically investigate how we can modify the existing chemical structure of antibiotics in order to make them more potent and more like pharmacokinetically efficient and work against like these really, really dangerous types of bacteria. So
Now,
they'll like take this like oh sorry.
no, go. What were you saying? They'll
They'll
do
take
what?
this sample molecule and then they'll test it against different structures of enzymes inside of the bacteria that they're trying to target.
Uh huh.
And hopefully the goal is like by creating these like molecules, these antibiotic molecules that will eventually have the most potency against these enzymes and hopefully like kill off the bacteria that's causing these infections.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll probably think that what I'm about to ask you is stupid.
Oh no, of course not.
When it comes to antibiotics, are they becoming just less effective, the current ones that are available to people?
That's actually a really interesting thought, right? So it's not the fact that the antibiotics are inherently less effective. It's actually the fact that your bacteria are mutating in order to better fight them.
Oh, so
So yeah,
so your bacteria fights off the antibiotics that are to help you?
yeah. So like say for example you get an infection, right? And say for example like it's a really bad infection, it's staph or staphylococcus aureus, I believe.
Okay.
So Staphylococcus aureus is a type of bacteria which I believe is gram-negative. I might be wrong, but this bacteria essentially like will go into your body and it'll like give you a sore throat. So you'll have this sore throat. You'll have like this inflammation in like the back of your throat. Your tonsils will get all like sore.
Swollen. Okay.
Yeah. So what's happening here is that this bacteria is like going inside of your cells and essentially creating a ton of copies of itself in order to like create these little hives, I guess. And these hives are called they're called biofilms.
Okay.
So these bacteria will clump up together, create these biofilms, and it makes it really difficult for antibiotics to go penetrate these biofilms and actually like reach the bacteria and kill it.
Okay.
So way back when antibiotics were first discovered, penicillin, it used to be able to like very easily go in and like take out this bacteria.
Okay.
But over time, bacteria would begin to recognize like, oh, this is penicillin, and mutate itself so that the penicillin couldn't get it inside.
And it wouldn't be as effective.
Exactly.
But the question I wonder is, over time, I get that, but in the same individual, but what about new people? I mean, like I say, it might be a stupid question, but how is it how does it defend itself against the penicillin if it's developed in somebody that has never had it before, somebody that's just years, a young person or something like that? Does that make sense?
No, that makes sense. Actually, it's a very good question. Simply put, bacteria spread, germs spread really easily, right?
Okay.
So one person has this mutated bacteria, they sneeze on their hand, somebody touches the door handle that they just touched and touches their eye. Now they have an eye infection containing the bacteria that previous person just had. So these types of like bacteria can spread really quickly and cause these very dangerous infections. Also, not only that, but like there's different types of bacteria that have just like mutated organically.
Okay.
So E. coli, for example, is considered a pretty non-pathogenic bacteria. Like it actually like lives in our gut. It's very good for us. But there's some bacteria like MRSA, methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus.
Okay.
And MRSA is actually becoming very common, like out in the wild, in the environment. So a lot of people who, for example, get wound infections, like they like scrape their leg really badly and now they have a wound. That wound, if not treated properly, will develop MRSA. In which case you have to go in with antibiotics and treat it.
Interesting. Now, I do want to ask you about something since you brought that up, the wound thing. It's a bit controversial. A lot of people want to deny it, but you being a chemistry major or biology major?
Yes.
Yeah. And obviously you know what you're talking about, far more advanced than I was at, the freshman level.
Oh, thank you.
I think it starts with a C, and I cannot pronounce the name of it, but the disease that are spread by animals when they if they lick a wound, you know what I'm referring to?
Rabies?
No. It starts with a C. As a long name, it's like cata something, and what it is like if they say you're not supposed to allow like your pet to lick your wound because it can cause an infection that can eat your skin, deteriorate your skin. If you're like your dog or your cat licks an open wound. Have you heard about that?
I have not. That sounds very interesting though. I mean, it's definitely like
there are people that have lost limbs from this.
It's definitely plausible. I haven't heard of like this specific bacteria, but I am aware that whenever, for example, dog bites are considered the most dangerous type of wound that you can get. Like if a dog bites you, it's really dangerous. You need to go to the hospital and get that treated ASAP.
Really?
And the reason why is because dog saliva contains a lot of bacteria.
Exactly. But that's to protect them, but it doesn't mean that it protects you.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So that bacteria in a human wound can go in and fester and eventually turn into a really bad infection.
I don't know, if you look it up on your phone, this is I would look it up on mine, but
Yeah.
but it's I forget, it's a specific name for it. And I said, well, is this true? And then I started looking up different things in regards to it, and people saying this is, you know, on social media, people are saying, no, this is propaganda. This is not real. I let my dog lick my wounds all the time, things of that nature. And
Apparently it's called capnocytophagia canemorsis.
that's what it is. I knew it started with a C. I just couldn't remember the name for it. So you've never heard of that?
This is my first time seeing it, but apparently it's like very like serious. It is rare, but it can potentially cause a very serious infection if you're bitten by like a dog or a cat.
Yeah, or if your own cat licks your wounds, which is why I don't like it when people's, you know, animals like, what is it? Like come up to me or try to lick me, or I think even just for the sake of people, you shouldn't allow individuals to pet your animal. But that's just something different. I was just wondering if you knew anything about that. But you said something that was interesting to me. You mentioned a startup, and have you ever considered like creating your own startup?
I have. I do think it's like a possibility for me to look into like in the future after I graduate. For now, I really want to just like get industry experience by like getting an internship, but that's definitely something I would want to do in the future.
Two subjects that I think and how many credits are you taking right now?
Right now, I'm taking 15.
Oh, okay, that's not
Next year,
bad.
I'll be taking 18.
Oh my goodness, I took 18 my first semester, and that was a mistake when I first went into
I was
college.
warned against doing that, so I'm glad
Yeah,
I started off slow.
no, that was smart because I was just being hard headed. Like I shouldn't have never took 18 credits when I first started college. But for you, if you are able to like take some sort of business course that has to deal with, you know, managing finances and things of that nature, you're at the perfect school for it. It's literally from just me, you know, talking to a lot of people at your school. A lot of individuals seem to do very well in that field. But then not only that, the one thing that a lot of people don't realize you need when it comes to business is not necessarily the degree, but just more so the connections. And if you can build relationships with people in like your business world, so to speak, at your school, then those connections will prove to be, you know, very helpful with you, you know, later on. And even taking a sales course of some sort. You know, I like, even on this channel, like I talk a lot about sales. I refer to one aspect of sales, which is the sales that I do, which is door-to-door sales. However, it is a skill that doesn't get taught enough. It doesn't get taught properly. And I feel like when people, am I going this way?
I believe
Yes, I am. Yeah. When people actually learn that skill and they put it into practice, you got it. But no matter what field you're in, you're going to have to know something about sales. So, you know, maybe even when you get out of school, if you take a job in pharmaceutical sales, you'll understand the sales aspect of things. But that's something that can definitely propel you in everything that you're doing. Because it sounds like you just got everything together. I gotta give you credit on that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I actually hope to like take some type of entrepreneurship course.
Mm-hmm.
They offer a couple of years, so that would be really amazing. Also, like what you mentioned about connecting with people is very important too. I actually was able to meet a biotech startup founder through an alumni panel that was like going on at the university. So that was a really cool opportunity. And like just being able to like go up to people, talk to them, and like hear a little bit about their career experience.
Were you able, that founder, right? Were you able to get their contact info?
Yeah, I connected with them on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So that was great.
Well, I mean, is talk to them personally, like.
Yeah, that too.
That's nice. If you can maintain like a relationship, even if it's something as simple as, you know, how's the family, you know, ask them about their goals, ask them about some of the things that they've struggled with. That could be, you know, your easy roadmap to say, all right, well, this is what so and so has struggled with. Now I know how I can be able to like overcome it.
Yes,
You know,
I definitely.
learn, like one thing I learned in sales especially, but just in interacting with people, you got to not only learn from what people did successfully, but you got to learn from people's mistakes as well. It's not a bad thing because everybody makes mistakes, but people make mistakes for a reason. Like you're going to make mistakes, but you might have someone that need to learn from you how to, you know, bypass that mistake. and you can be an asset to somebody else by helping them bypass that mistake. So learn as much as you can, and yeah, if you have somebody that you've already connected with in that world, I would definitely build a relationship with that person.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Even go to a ball game or
Great
something like
advice.
that. Anything that you could do, you know.
Yeah, hopefully that would be really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
And
cool.
and don't think that you're not an individual, because I talk to people a lot, and I talk to people about joining a Riotcast a lot, and some people think that they don't have enough that they can share. Like, people can learn from you as much as they can teach you, and I feel like unless you are even as a teacher, unless you're learning, you're not really a teacher. You have to always be learning, and you have to be willing to teach people at the same time.
Yeah, that's very well said.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Like, so I think some of like my greatest lessons like I've ever learned have either been through like my own mistakes or somebody telling me about like roadblocks that they hit in their own career journeys.
Uh-huh.
So that is definitely a very like good piece of advice. I'll keep that in the back of my pocket.
Yeah, yeah. It's always easier when you learn from somebody's mistakes. I can tell you that for sure.
Right.
So, do you have any like immediate goals, or is it just getting through the semester, or?
Yeah. My current goal right now is to secure an internship or a research experience for next summer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the goal, but we will see how that goes. I'm really hoping to get an industry research experience. So doing an internship in some type of biotech startup or a larger pharmaceutical company like Regeneron, for example.
Okay.
I know like they have internships opening up in the summer.
Now it's funny because a lot of the students I talk to, they tend to have internships and stuff like that, but they're usually in the business field. Or do they have any in your school that's set up in your field?
Um,
Or
yeah.
have you talked to like your advisor about that?
Yeah, so like most of the quote unquote like internships that you get in like any sort of like biology, chemistry related field is going to be in the form of a lab experience. So you would start off as like a research assistant or a research intern.
But is that within the school or outside of school at a company?
It's within the school. So, for example, my school has different professors who are lecturers, and if you're in like one of their classes, like for example, there's a professor here who teaches organic chemistry.
Okay.
I'm currently a freshman, so like if I were a sophomore, I would be in his class. So
Organic chemistry is fun too, by the way.
yeah, it's very interesting. It's very difficult, but cool subject.
If you have a really good enough teacher that can actually simplify it for you, and you'll understand it in a way that you never thought that you would. My chemistry 2 teacher started teaching us organic chemistry as well, and it was really interesting how, it's also based on the teacher, right? Like if like people a lot of times want to blame the student, but sometimes you got to look at what the teacher is doing, and then even more so, you got to look at the effects of what that teacher has done. Like, all right, so how many successful people has that person taught?
Right, that makes sense.
Like those are the things that I want to look at. I don't know if do y'all have that ability at your school to look at, like, let's say in the business realm, how many people have been taught by this person that has gone on to become, business owners or, things of that nature? How many people have gone on to create startups?
That's a really specific statistic. I don't think like my school tracks that. I do know we have like a rate my professor, so you're able to see what professors have like generally good ratings, like how
Yeah,
much.
but that could be based off of personality, right? I mean, that could be based off of, I don't like this person, so I'm gonna give them a bad reading, or I like this person, so I'm gonna give them a good reading.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, if colleges aren't doing that, then how are they judging the effectiveness of their professors? I never even thought about that until just now. Like, if colleges were to look at how many business owners, how many I don't know, instead of just looking at people who can do it great, because I mean, especially with AI right now, there's so many individuals that can just, I don't know, chat GTP everything, and it's easy to get A's, or you could pay someone to, get good grades, for, take tests for you, and all types of stuff, right?
Yeah, cheating is definitely a very prevalent issue. Like I've personally seen like the first-hand effects of it coming out of high school. Like people who cheated all the time in high school now are completely unprepared going into college.
True, right? But one thing I would say, see, I'm not the biggest fan of college, but I think that everybody should go, but I don't think that everybody should rely on college.
No.
Because, I mean, the way technology is right now, unless you're going to be a doctor, lawyer, someone in your field that makes sense, yeah, go to college. You want to be an accountant, yeah, go to college. But if you want to be a business owner and that's all you want to do, or you want to create a product, I talked with a student over there. I forget the guy's name, but he was already running a business. And I'm thinking to myself, why are you in college right now? Like, you're already running a business, a successful business from what you're telling me. And he was explaining to me how his business worked. And I'm like, why are you in school right now?
Yeah, no, you bring up a really valid point. I actually personally know people who like are taking recesses from school to like go work on their stealth startups, which is like a startup that like hasn't already like broadcasted its like name and website or anything like that.
Yeah.
So definitely, especially for people who are trying to go into entrepreneurship, college can sometimes seem like a waste of time. I guess for fields that are very like academically heavy, like
yours, yeah,
or maybe like finance,
Mhm.
for instance.
Maybe.
Yeah. For those types of fields, it's very useful, but especially like for CS, I've seen like a couple students who like they took recesses from school to go work on startups and they just like never went back to school. So it is very possible to succeed without a college degree. I just think college more teaches or emphasizes rather discipline. Like you can, you have been able to demonstrate to an employer that you went to school, sat in a classroom, and were able to
do the
listen
work.
to instructions and do the work like with a like threshold of like work ethic. You know.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I actually like the way that you put that. I think that that's very good. Because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that. I feel like, especially in my, I'm Gen X, so I'm 45 years old. So like, you know, for a lot of people at my age, our whole things that our parents were teaching us was you have to go to college in order to get a good job, in order to be successful. But truth of the matter is, you don't have to go to college to be successful. But if it's certain things that you want to learn, yeah, you might have to go to college. But if you want to get connections, you might want to go to college, especially in the business field, because the connections that you might build might have somebody walk into your office one day and as you're running your business, and you might have to decide whether or not you want to hire this person.
Right.
You might remember this person was doing keg stands at a frat party or something like that. But, or you might remember this person as being like really good at what they did, and you say, well, this person would be perfect for this position. So you understand what employers think. So it sounds like you're already thinking like an entrepreneur.
No, that definitely brings to mind the story. I might be mistaken when I say this, but if I recall correctly, like Alexander Wang, who founded a startup called, if I'm not mistaken, Spike AI.
Okay.
And like he went to MIT, but like he dropped out. So literally what he did was like he went to MIT for like maybe a semester or two, met the people who he wanted to co-found the company with, and then dropped out with them. And eventually it actually grew to be a like billion-dollar company. He's the world's youngest self-made billionaire.
Oh, that's
like, today.
Yeah, that's smart.
So like I could definitely see how like people who want to go into entrepreneurship would like take college as the opportunity to make connections and really just like grow their network.
Yeah, networking is definitely key. So make sure you do that in everything that you do. It was definitely great speaking with you, Zara. I learned a lot from you, and I appreciate that. Yes. Hopefully it's something that'll benefit you. Hopefully it's something that will benefit everybody who watches this. And yeah, you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
All right.